Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking your time with me. Besides the fact that the bar staff have been instructed to rugby tackle anyone who tries to leave today, I'm going to give you another reason to sit and listen to me, okay? And I'm talking about backup and disaster recovery. And I want to talk less about the software and what you as partners can position as a solution, okay? Because it used to be that backup was just a question of a tape, a server, and that was your job done. Whereas nowadays, you guys have the opportunity to be selling hardware, remote cloud, high availability solutions, replication to different sites. All of that is now up for grabs and possible for you guys as partners. And Arcserve is the first solution that's going to allow you to do that competitively, okay? So, who are we? Some of us will know, some of you guys will remember us, Arcserve from back in the day. We previously were owned by CA Technologies. Before that, we were owned by Cheyenne, but we have 20 years experience in one thing only, backup and disaster recovery. Now, last year, we were invested as an independent organization, and the reason that we got bought and the reason that someone wanted to buy us is because of this solution here, Unified Data Protection, so Arcserve UDP. Rather than what our competitors were doing and seem to continue to be doing on this, is take their existing solution and bolt on new and additional bits to it, hoping that it will do the job required. What we said is no, we're going to go back to the drawing board and we're going to build a solution which is specifically designed for the modern data center, for modern data protection, and basically to leverage all of the benefits in connectivity, the benefits in the cheapness of hardware, and of course the benefits in terms of virtualization. So, increased resilience by having multiple sites, a lot easier to use. Anyone who's ever used the legacy file-based backup problem solution knows that it is a problem and it's very, very complicated. And to give cutting-edge functionality, so effectively the latest and greatest in terms of what can be done in the area. So, this is how we look now. 500 people worldwide, 7,300 partners, 43,000 customers. In Ireland, some of those customers include some of the largest councils that are out there in terms of hospitals, manufacturing, all of the various sectors. We have very large-scale customers going all the way down to much smaller customers. And what that does is give us effectively the impetus to make sure that we are cutting edge in everything we do, that we support all of the latest operating systems. If a very large customer needs to support the latest vSphere, then we support the latest vSphere. And so all of that benefit of dealing with very large organizations filters down to all of the mid-market and the SMB. So this is why we came up with the solution, okay? Complicated environments, different operating systems, different hardware, different hypervisors. The problem is that backup is everywhere. Everything that you do needs to be backup, and often when you're making the decisions in your IT environment, you don't necessarily have the foresight to be thinking, right, I will make this decision for my backup. So effectively, in this area, you guys get given the problem. Okay, well, what are you going to do? This is my environment, now back it up. Next problem, well, virtualization. It's a brilliant thing, but it involves large data growth, and the budgets that companies are being given to manage that growing data doesn't change. And then finally, solution stacking, with my rather fancy graphic there, took me a while. What is that? So it's using multiple solutions to do one thing. Why would you do it? I have, unfortunately, several email addresses from my young days. I can no longer use my Hotmail account from when I was 19, okay? Flipping between two systems is no way of doing anything. So why do it with multiple solutions when you can do it all from one thing? So our solution seeks to unify all of the various requirements of an environment for backing up and put it all into a single, easy-to-use console, which still gives you all of the functionality that you would expect from people like EMC, people like Commvault, the very, very high-end, the very enterprise end. Nowadays, small to medium, mid-market business are thinking, why can't I have that? The connectivity is there. The cheapness of the hardware is there, that a smaller organization can now think about genuinely having some sort of always-on solution at their beck and call. So it's just like an SLA dial. So rather than giving your customers one level of protection for their data, depending on the importance of those servers, within our solution, we can attribute different policies and different settings to give you better and more increased services depending on their requirements. There's not just one fit for all. There's certain exchange or business critical applications that are going to be so crucial to what your customers do, where they want to give increased protection. And so Arcserve UDP, this is the actual console itself. So this is a web-based console, can be accessed anywhere on the network, and for the first time, your customers are going to be able to do things like file-based tape, image-based backup to disk, replication, high availability, all of the requirements from just one place. You can see how simply laid out it is. And of course, by seeing the various different processes in order, it makes you really understand what's exactly happening with your backup. So I'm just going to cover a couple of the features that you're going to find with us that you can't find at our price with anyone else. So the first one is global deduplication. Effectively, instead of having to stage your data in the way that our competitors are still asking you to do, or instead of using a sort of ropey WAN optimization in order to dedupe your data, we give you full control and we do it using inline deduplication. So instead of having to use up your resources and network by pulling all of your data to one place, we allow you to perform the dedupe in theory, so you're only pulling the essential data across. It's a big saving in connectivity, it's a big saving in hardware, and these are all things which your customers will be looking to save money on. Built-in replication, we don't ask for any more money for it. It's as standard with our project, within our product. And the reason is because we see it as essential to what's going on. If you want to replicate your data off-site, whether you've got a second location as a customer or whether you're looking to put it into the cloud, you want to be able to manage that all from one place. Why flip into a different solution? So virtual standby, any one of your machines go down. It could be physical, it could be virtual, it could be a Hyper-V VM, it could be an ESX VM. In either case, you can spin it up immediately as a new server and keep yourself always on. All of these now are things that you would expect, but agentless backup for VMware and Hyper-V. Image-based backup to disk and cloud. Image-based backup to cloud. Now, a lot of customers talk about cloud, and a lot of them maybe have their expectations might be a little bit demanding. Obviously, if you're sending large amounts of data to the clouds, the first problem is recovery. How do you get all of that data back? We don't do blob storage to the cloud, which is basically dumping a large amount of data from A to B. We provide you granular file and folder level restore from any cloud you can choose. So we are, for example, with Azure, Fujitsu, Amazon, any of these, we can actually spin up VMs within their environments and leverage our technology. So workstation protection, desktops, laptops, we do it. High availability. Now, a lot of people will talk to you about high availability without naming names. You want to look at what they're really talking about, because a lot of people, when they say high availability, they're talking about high availability for a virtual machine. When we say high availability, we're talking about application level high availability. And what that means is that, say, for example, your problem isn't with your virtual machine. Your problem is with your application. We are monitoring that application. As soon as we detect an issue with the application, we then switch over services to the redundant or the DR environment. So it's true and a genuine high availability, and not something that's just being marketed to you as a high availability-like feature. And of course, we do the same thing with cloud. So assured recovery, DR testing, all happens on our actual backup server. So by testing that your backups are actually working, you don't have to use up your production resources. So some solutions are finding it harder to compete. At the low end of the market, what you're finding is that certainly around virtualization, a lot of vendors have not really adopted the necessary technology to really handle and get the most out of virtual protection. And at the high end, what you're finding is very, very high service level costs, or if you're looking at hardware and you're looking at someone like EMC or any of the big boxes, any sort of dedupe hardware appliance, the costs are absolutely enormous. So either it's a problem with functionality or it's a problem with cost. So we license three ways. We do it per socket, so that's per physical socket. If you buy your customer a per socket license, it will give our software for an unlimited number of virtual machines on that virtual host. Per terabyte, managed capacity, you'll probably be familiar with it, the amount of production data, not the back-end data. And finally, per server. Why do we offer 3 types? Well, the reason is that some customers have an enormous number of physical processors, an enormous number of servers, and they don't have very much data. We're not looking to hit our customers over the head with our licensing. If you've got lots of terabytes, but a small number of servers, well then buy the per CPU license. If you've got a small amount of data, and the reverse is true. So we always give our customers a less expensive way of doing it than just saying, right, there's one license, sink or swim. So why? Why us? Why now? Okay, be different. Okay, you will be selling the same solution as a number of your competitors. How do you stand out in the marketplace? How do you make sure that you're special? Higher margins. If you're competing with all of your partners with the same vendor, then your margins are going to be squeezed every time. It's just not the case with us. And lead with decent technology. Why go to your customer with anything less than the best? So we're channel only. We do free technical and end user boot camps. We had one here in Dublin yesterday. Field, enterprise and mid-market guys will help you, will come on site, will work it with you. Twice weekly demos. Anyone is welcome and we'll happily give you the links. Deal registration, obviously, will protect your margin. We've got internal guys, MSP licensing and NFR keys for all of those MSPs amongst you. And we have a collaborative 24/7 technical support platform. So anyone with a technical ticket, you can log it and actually see live and direct what is happening with your ticket. And we'll chuck in a free copy of UDP Workstation for every single one of you. So any individual person can download a full copy of our workstation to get going with with knowing about it. So my last slide, UDP 7000. We have an appliance coming out. Our unified approach to data, and we've now brought out our own hardware to support it. So thank you very, very much for listening to me. I hope you can come over and say hi, even if you haven't got a schedule booked in. Grab me and let's talk. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.